Welcome to Playing the Big, Beautiful Long Game, where entrepreneurship meets spirituality. In this podcast, we explore the intersection of personal fulfillment, spiritual growth, and business success. This podcast delves into the idea that entrepreneurship is not just about profits or growing businesses. It's also about embracing purpose, meaning, and inner growth. Each episode features conversations with entrepreneurs and thought leaders who share their journeys of building businesses that align with their highest values and deepest calling. I'm your host, Debbie Zita. Sit back, relax, and thank you for being here. So happy to have you here with us, Laurel. Can you please let the audience know who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I've been looking so forward to this. My name is Laurel Pendle, and I'm the founder and CEO of LPBC Services. And we help business owners who are struggling and busy to really align their business purpose with their passion. And we help business executives and also organizations both. So yeah, I'm super excited.
Beautiful. And let us know, because we can of course hear your accent, and I'm based in Melbourne, Australia. Laura, whereabouts are you based?
Yes, so you live in a beautiful part of the world. I've actually been there. So,
Oh, gorgeous.
sunny Arizona in the United States, and we were about 117 degrees today.
Oh, and we are beautiful and sunny right now. I don't know what the temperature is. It's not particularly high, but had I met you yesterday, it was rain coming at us from all angles and wind everywhere, and yeah, very typical Melbourne winter, which is not so fun, but I will not complain. We're very blessed to be in this city and this country. Where to from here, Laurel? So we just met. Often I know my guests very well, and you're one of those beautiful guests where we're just meeting each other. So this is a new conversation for us both. So happy to, oh, I know what. Let's set the intention. We spoke briefly about you being faith-based, and for me, I consider myself to be an instrument of the love. And how about we set an intention?
I
Yeah.
would absolutely
Would you like to do that? Would you prefer for me to do that?
love for you to do that. I followed your work and I would be honored.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know why that's making me so teary, but my heart's very open, and part of how I know my heart is open is I do get a bit teary. Okay, so I would love us to connect with our hearts, and I do that by touching my heart center. And I would love for us to smile sweetly and freely, more completely, more continuously to our beautiful hearts until there is only peace, love, and joy. Good, more completely, and more continuously. And we're sending out a signal to every heart on the planet. I know that that sounds big, but I love to send it out to every being. Um, and for those who are ready to receive your message, that they can tune into this frequency, that you and I can find the right words, the right stories. And that may be for them to come and join you or myself in a professional business setting, but it can also be, sometimes you just have that day, that week, that month, that year where you go, how, why, God? And, it's these kinds of things where you're like, I just needed to hear that from Laurel or Deb. So it's those two spectrums and anything else in between that speaks to the heart and soul of our listeners. So from there and from this intention, Laurel, can you please let us know, what does playing bigger and playing beautiful mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think so often people hear different catchphrases, but it's really more of a philosophy for me, and just a strategic mindset. Playing bigger and beautiful is all about the empowerment of women. I mean, you can also be a man, of course, but I work predominantly with women, and it's just for me, it's all about creating that beauty and that give back opportunity to make a difference in the world.
And that's part of the, I think you said purpose and profit. That's
Yeah, aligning purpose and your profit, or you could say it the other way, aligning purpose or profit with your purpose. It's all the same, and I think they go hand in hand because that's what I believe we're here for in this world to make a difference.
beautiful. And it doesn't feel quite complete. I don't know about you, Laura, but it doesn't feel quite complete or fulfilling when we don't have both of those things. And sometimes, again, I don't know about you, but it's a constant, redirection or course correction or shuffle into finding that sweet spot where you are really living in that place because, we do have to pay bills. We do have to raise families and care for parents or, whatever that is in your unique circumstance. But then yet, if you're a faith-based or a spiritual being or whatever word, language works for you in that area of life, it's so important to also have things like, surrender or presence, open-heartedness, shadow work, whatever those things are for you. So I'd love it. Maybe can you let us know, firstly, do you agree with that sort of concept around that course correction or sweet spot?
I definitely do, and I have built my business around kind of that similar philosophy because as you build your business, you don't have to sacrifice your integrity. You don't have to sacrifice your experience or your wisdom or your heart to bring in the right type of client. And I think earlier in my career, you feel like you have to take on everybody and they might not be that perfect fit. But because you want to build your business and you're trying to pay your bills, you sometimes sacrifice some of those things that you say later on in life, I'm not going to do that. If that leader is not a good fit or that entrepreneur who you're trying to align with to build and help guide their business is not in kind of lockstep, it's not going to work. It's not going to feel good.
Oh, it's without going too much into the story because I'm very private with my community and my clients and all the beautiful people that I have alongside me. But I'll just say I can so relate to that theme this week. There's been a lot of different things that have happened, and I'm at a growth stage or a scaling stage of my own business, and I know that I'm being tested, and I don't like that concept. And often I go, no, no, there's no testing, but I don't know how else to say it. I'm really backing myself with my prices and what I offer and what my deliverables are. And I think of myself as a generous soul. And often when I share about myself, for anyone who's a listener or a watcher of the podcast, I do so as a way to show the vulnerability of my own journey and in the hopes that it speaks to someone who's going, oh, this is, she's amazing on Insta or everything's working and she's an international best-selling author or, she's six figures, seven, whatever they're saying, but we're still all human. And I'm wondering, firstly, how do you know, Laurel, like when something's not quite right, do you feel it in your body? What is the way that you know it's not the right thing for you?
That is such a great question. I'm pretty intuitive. I really feel it in my heart space and my lower back. Of course, you can be tense all over, but I really feel it in this lower back right when something happens. I feel like my back's going to give out, and I know that's my trigger. That I shouldn't be moving in that direction. No matter what the money looks like, the opportunity, if it's too good to be true,
Hmm.
I don't even move in that direction.
Again, me being me and so transparent. I haven't had back pain in years. When my son was little, I did every day. And the last 2 weeks, and actually particularly this morning, I've woken up, and I know anyone who's a healer will be messaging me, letting me know what this means. But my lower part of my left back is in quite severe pain, and again, and that's why I do the intention because it's like I've no idea what's going to come up in these conversations. But yeah, you're so spot on, Laurel, with what you're sharing, and yeah,
Yeah, I don't
I feel like you have
if
something
you
else to add.
oh, I was just gonna say if you knew the work of Louise Hay,
Yes,
um,
absolutely.
and she would say that your body, everything aligns with your body and also your emotions, and it has meaning to it.
Yeah.
And so we can heal our own bodies through various modalities. I won't get too deep into it, but I love all of that because it's true. I mean, I'm very, very analytical, so I think a lot and overanalyze to death, but I also am very intuitive, and so you kind of have to balance the two. Get carried away, I think, on both sides. But you're right. Feeling when you feel something, your gut. Men always tend to talk about their gut,
Hmm.
and women talk about their intuition. And so I think it's just semantics, but we all feel, both men and women, when something's
I think I need to take out, it's somewhere in this abyss of papers and books. I'll have to take out my You Can Heal Your Life
I have
And
my
find
notes.
it. Yes, again, it's been a while because I haven't had these challenges for a while, but I will take that out. On this topic, and then we'll move on to something else. But when you feel that and you've acknowledged that that's what it is, how do you then step into a place of, practically applying that? So it's not just, oh, this client, this opportunity, something's wrong. I'll just let that go. But is there also something, yeah, something practical that you do to follow up?
Yeah. For me personally, when there's maybe a tough interaction that you've had with a client or maybe a vendor or just somebody, relationally, personally, that maybe have come across a little off, and you get that kind of feeling like, oh, I don't know if it was me or them or whatever that may be. I think I take a step back,
Yeah.
pause. I certainly don't send the email. I don't send the text right away. I usually give it about 24 hours before I respond in some sort of emotion. Really, just pausing and letting my heart space and my head space come together. So that way I can have more intention in what I want to put forth. And I think as a leader, so oftentimes people are reactionary, and especially in times of stress.
Yeah.
Um, you know, this world does not lack the stressful moments and economic climate and political climates that we see throughout the world right now. And so there's oftentimes a lot of tension behind that, and it's not often it's something within their personal or professional lives that we're responding to. So taking a step back, for me, pausing, giving it some intention, surrendering to what my body's actually feeling and how I'm reacting, because that's a trigger, and that's alerting you to something. And
Mm.
then later,
Yeah,
that's what
very wise words. Yeah, being able to just to pause, and that's part of something I have in my framework as well, is responding and not reacting. And I don't know about you, Laura, but I think I also put the extra pressure on myself as someone who does teach and facilitate and does lead, that somehow I should be perfect. But even we will have times where you hit send and you go, you probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm so busy tomorrow and the next day and the next day. It just, I reach my limit, and then finding a place within ourselves where we have that inner best friend where we just go, okay, I forgive that and I'm going to send loving light. And yeah, and then go into a space of surrender and hope and pray that God, the creator, kind of reshuffles things in our favor for us and for the person involved too.
absolutely. I mean, you said it best. We're hard on ourselves
Yeah.
in business and personal relationships. We all mess up. There's no such thing as perfection. I'm a recovering perfectionist, is what I love. I mess up every day, continuously, and then I have to give myself a lot of love and grace, because I tend to be hard on myself, as most perfectionists are. And so, yeah, I have to really lean into that and say, okay, I'm going to do better tomorrow, or I'm going to do better, later on. There was a reason I reacted like that, but at the end of the day, I need to apologize if I needed to make amends with somebody or whatever that situation is, but give myself grace for sure.
I found that this is a lot of women struggle with this, that in terms of the being hard on ourselves. I
Yes,
don't want to generalize, and I'm very, our program is very much inclusive of all genders and all beliefs, and as long as there's obviously respect for each other and being able to hold space for those difficult conversations. But what I have learnt though is that women are very hard on ourselves, and I think it's part of our social and family programming. And the guys don't seem to have that. Have you found that on your journey as well, Laurel?
absolutely. You nailed it. I don't see that often. I hate to generalize, but that is true. I've worked with, in the first part of my career, I would say 99% were men, and they'll say it. They're big and bold. They have a lot of confidence, and if it rubs you the wrong way, that's your problem. They don't give it a second guess most often.
Yeah.
Unless they're, completely heart-centered. They may be different with their wives behind the scenes, or their girlfriends, or their, family. But if from a business perspective, there's not a lot of, I'm sorry, or I apologize, or, the soft tones that the female energy brings.
Yes.
It's more of that, that male dominated energy, kind of that rough energy of, I'm not going to apologize. This is the pricing. You
Mm.
take it or leave it, and we'll move it forward. So
Yeah.
women tend to do a lot of emojis, and, they
True.
use just before they say something, or I apologize, or I'm sorry, overly often compared to men, for sure.
Yeah, so true. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's just different ways of operating and different ways of being. And yeah, it's such an interesting journey trying to find that marriage between the masculine and feminine leadership.
Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just, and then everyone receives it differently too, right? Because of the map of their own world. Some will go, I love it, Deb, you're so bold. And then someone else will go, oh my God, why are you being so mean to, like, and start crying. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was the same interaction, but the way it was processed was different because of where they're at and what they've been through. And again, their map of the world. So yeah, we do our
Absolutely.
best and surrender the rest, I think.
Yeah, it's their perspective and, like you said, how they were raised, what their programming is like. I couldn't agree more.
Let's ask you, Laurel, can you walk us through the early stages of your entrepreneurial journey?
Sure. So I had my career. I was in kind of the high level leadership, um, executive leadership for many, many years, 30 plus years. So I'm dating myself a little bit, in all different industries, convention and visitors bureaus, chambers of commerce, real estate, finance, all walks of life. And there was an opportunity, usually, that I've kind of pushed a little and prodded a little, for that purpose driven, kind of that give back charitable aspect of business. And so my background is sales, marketing, and public relations. So through all of those different career paths, I would kind of weave in, okay, I've landed at this executive position. Yes, I'm going to grow, by XYZ and all of that. But for me, it had to be that sustainable give back component built in somewhere, shape, or form. So I wasn't finding that a lot of CEOs at that time were really willing to kind of go in that direction. I think in the last 10, 15 years, there tends to be more of that heart space, purpose driven, um, philosophy in a lot of businesses. But it was a real struggle for many, many years, and they couldn't see the dollars and cents adding up to, kind of that aligning that purpose and passion with their profits. And so for many, many years, I worked corporate America, blood, sweat, and tears. I was a number, 80 hours a week, kind of a deal. And I finally just said, I really want to kind of own my own business, be an entrepreneur. So I've had many different businesses over the years, everything from business consulting to meeting planning, um, gosh, you name it. I've kind of jumped and launched and was big and bold in many different capacities. That's how I landed in Australia, where you live, and traveled to New Zealand and all over the world with very amazing clients. And so one day I said, I'm just going to build my own business. I'm going to do it how I want to do it, but I also want to give back to the world. I want, when I land with a client, and it's like a dating relationship or a marriage, you have to align,
Yeah.
in order to do great work. And if there's not that give back component and they don't have that mindset, it's probably not going to be a perfect marriage or relationship, even business relationship. They have to have that heart centered space.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I just built my business with aligning, profits with your purpose, and help businesses grow and scale, and provide leadership skills and coaching. And I love every minute of it. I have a son that I raise, and I'm the head of household, and just absolutely love the freedom and flexibility that it brings.
Beautiful. It's the juggle. The juggle is real for women. And also I think for some men, that some of the men are doing that as well. Yeah. And how old is
Absolutely.
your beautiful son?
He's going to be 14, coming up in August. He'll be a freshman in high school. Woo!
So mine's turning 17 later this year, and he towers over me now. And I still have to go, like, what's happened? Who are you? What happened? What happened? Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Can you share with us? I think you've answered this, but let's see if we get a different response with this question. But Laurel, how have you aligned your business with your purpose?
So I really think my why is solving big problems. I'm very analytical. Love to solve big problems for leaders and organizations, but really making a difference in the world. If I never got another dollar for my business and decided to do volunteer, that would be my passion is really just giving back. It doesn't matter if it's animal advocacy or excuse me, animal rescue or social impact, faith-based. I'm very much of a philanthropist, and so that would probably be my passion if I wasn't building my business around it already. That's a huge part of my life.
I have a question for you. It's an interesting one because uh, so obviously I've got a very big heart. I'm very generous. I also have a background in social work, and I think, look, my humble opinion is, social workers, psychologists, healers, hypnotherapists, therapists, mentors, we all naturally are givers anyway. I didn't have the corporate background, and I think it's been interesting for me, and there are others listening that are on similar paths to me, which is I really didn't have an understanding or an awareness of, running a meeting, asking for money, actually receiving money, knowing anything about sales, like anything like that was just, wow, this is like, oh, it was almost spiritual to me because, anything that is unknown can have that air of mysticism around it. And where I'm going with this is I sometimes meet, not often, but I sometimes meet like such beautiful souls that deeply want to earn the money because they've already got that purpose piece. Like they're already in charity, they're already, giving and everything else. But there's something, whether that's, karmic ties, generational relationships with money, being a woman in the world, which comes with, the conditioning from family and society, as we mentioned before. I'm just curious, have you ever come across that where, you've met someone that's so the other extreme? Because I love the charity and I love where you're going, but do you not agree that we need both? Like you cannot live off air alone
Absolutely.
or love alone.
I mean, my whole career path was corporate, working for Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies. So everything was, driving the bottom line and, profits over anything else. And you're just a number and, you could
Yeah.
stomp people to the ground to get to the top. No, nobody cared in leadership. I mean, I came from that entire background of you don't have a family photo on your desk because that'll be distracting. You need to, make sure that your desk is clean. You don't say you're a, woman that has children because that sets off a different vibe. I mean, I came from that whole background and I think you don't have to, but in my experience, that heart-centered, I know you work with a lot of healers and empaths and such. I think you have to have both because I have the analytical side and the empathic side. And so for me, money is just an exchange of energy. And if you're not able to ask for the sale, because I have a sales background, public relations and marketing, all go hand in hand. And if you have a product but you're not able to sell it or market it, it's going to fall flat. And so many people that I know who are in that giving space. Maybe it's volunteerism, or they've built their business as a healer or a spiritual um, guide. They whatever that capacity looks like to make a difference in the world. Maybe they're solving the mystery of certain things of cancer or whatever that may be. You have to have that marriage of both because without the sales, marketing, public relations, that freedom of asking for the sale and having that confidence to stand behind whatever it is that you're selling, you won't be growing your business. You won't be profitable. And that's the whole point of having a business, is to be profitable. And if not, it's a hobby. And that's okay too, if you have a hobby.
Yes. I know some people get very triggered by that, and I've actually been loving, not that I love to trigger people, but I'm in a place now where I'm really backing of my gifts and what I bring, that if it triggers, I see that as an opportunity for someone to have a bit of a breakthrough. And I remember sitting on one of my own coaching and mentorship sessions with my clients and going purpose and profit, purpose and profit, purpose and profit. Like, let's sing it, ladies, because you absolutely have to have both. It's just not sustainable otherwise. And so, again, if you're listening and if you're stuck in that piece of I'm so purpose driven, but I'm not getting that result, please engage myself or Laurel or someone else that can give you those tools around the sales and the marketing. And also, again, I don't know about you, Laura, but I really believe 80%, and I've been taught 80% is the inner game, the heart space, the mindset, the beliefs, and 20% is the strategy. And some even say 95% is the inner work, 5% strategy, depends on how you view it. But we can give you the script and all the different things. But if you're not understanding self and able to receive, which I think as an empath or healer or someone deeply, deeply spiritually connected who's here with a mission to be something such as a light worker or a raising of consciousness entrepreneur, there's a little bit more work we have to even do to be able to hold space for others in that same area as well. So I'd love your thoughts on what I've just shared there.
You're exactly right. I've been involved with quite a few mastermind and networking groups over the years. And that is, I think, the number one. I don't want to call it a downfall because that sounds negative, but in essence, it has been a limiting belief for a lot of the folks you're talking about that I've connected with and worked with because they feel like they don't want to charge for maybe their gift. And it's that limiting belief because why not share that with the world? Somebody needs to hear your story. And from a PR perspective, I'm always like, let's shape and share your story. It's so dynamic. Your background is amazing. Let's build that into how you can translate that to others and how you can share your gifts to better other people and make a difference in their life. And then the light bulbs start to click. And then I said, but you got to support yourself and feed your family. And, it's a money exchange. And without that dollar figure, it's just like going to a store and you see a free, tag on it or like a magazine, you see a free, people don't often pick it up. They don't want it. They don't feel like it holds any value, but
Yeah.
the cost exchange, they're like, oh, I'm getting something for my time and effort and money. And, I think that's a good thing. And so I completely agree with you. Doctors, lawyers, dentists, they don't have any trouble asking for the bill at the end of their their time healing you. And so I think no matter what background you have, it's important to build a business with those price points.
Yes.
You can have several different price points in line.
Yeah,
That's how.
absolutely.
Yes.
And I think part of also what I want to do here with the podcast is have this tribe of beautiful women. And we do have a few male guests as well coming on board, but having this tribe of heart-centered humans where when you forget or when you dip into the old or when you're challenged with something that's showing you some contrast that, we're all here to go, you got it, like come back, purpose, profit. Where's that balance? Because we can sometimes go, one step forward, two steps back. And I call it, with especially with that purpose profit piece, it's almost like the turtle effect. I call it the turtle effect, where they'll share something like, "This is the price, this is my story," and then whoop,
Oh,
and they'll go.
yeah,
And I did it for years as well. And part of it is like, no, keep doing it, keep showing up, even if there's no likes, even if the sale hasn't happened yet. Just keep leaning into that energy of that, and eventually the universe will match you because that's the law of attraction. It has to
absolutely.
eventually.
Absolutely. It's also a numbers thing. The more opportunities that you have to connect with others, the more opportunities you have to share your story and connect, to help create change for that other individual,
Yeah.
the more opportunities you have. And so it might just, if you only talk to one person a week, you might get a no. But if you talk to 50, you might get 15 no's and 6 guesses and 25 maybes. So it's
Yes.
it's all about talking to more people and having that confidence, to share with others what you're doing and how you can make an impact in the
Yeah.
world.
Beautiful. Amazing. Do you have any tips in terms of that sort of PR piece that we're touching on here? I know it's a general question, but what is something that someone can do to really get themselves out there? And it could be practical, could be a mindset piece, but Yeah, something in that way.
Yeah, PR can be, tricky. It just depends on what you're looking to achieve, what your goals and objectives for marketing and, building out your strategy plan as it relates to business. If you don't have a structure, you can't just do one TikTok video or one, one Instagram reel and expect, the world to just be coming to your website and all this business is going to be raining from the heavens. It doesn't work like that. So you have to, really build out a strategy and diversify as it relates to public relations and marketing in general and kind of weave in the two. And sales goes hand in hand with all of that. But just some simple strategies is it's all about visibility and positive visibility. Negative PR sometimes attracts certain people as well, but we're going to focus on the positive
Yeah.
PR and not the crisis management. But I would just say, looking at different trade, if you're in a certain trade industry, looking at trade publications that maybe you can submit an article to or write a blog article for them that would get your name out there. There's so many different avenues. Social media is, gosh, it's so prevalent right now. My main platform is LinkedIn because I do a lot of business to business interaction, Facebook, Instagram, but LinkedIn for me is vital. And I have a newsletter. It goes out to 1,000, 2,000 folks on LinkedIn, and so that's another a great visibility tool. And those are free opportunities. And so it could be podcasts like what we're doing today, interviews with your local chamber of commerce. You can get in there and really roll up your sleeve. And I don't know if you have chambers of commerce over in Australia where you are, but here in the States, they're very active. And once you belong, it's like a membership organization,
Okay.
similar to a networking, but it's for small businesses. You
Okay.
could be a guest speaker
Yeah.
and maybe whatever topic it is that they're looking for, you can put your name in the hat and get your visibility that way. So there's so many different avenues for sales, marketing, and public relations. But I would say diversification is huge,
Yeah.
making sure in a lot of different avenues because
Yeah.
as we know with the economy, one industry may fall flat. So if you're kind of in another industry and you're an expert in that, you can kind of hold steady if your clients fall off on another.
Yeah, very, very wise words, sage advice, so especially with the different industries. We don't have the luxury that we did, I think, 5 to 10 years ago, which was focus here and that's it. We really have to be flexible to be able to move and pivot, and it's that comes back to, for me, that's the mindset piece. You have to have that level of resiliency and focus and grit because it's, yeah. And I think, I don't want to wish for this, but I think we're kind of in it, and it's every year it's kind of more of that. And those of us that are willing to, as you were saying, put up our sleeves and just get in there, we will be the ones that survive and thrive. And unfortunately, it's those that don't have that level of resilience and grit that will not, because it's an absolute must.
Absolutely. That abundance mindset is huge in business and in your personal life. I couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
Yeah. Can you please share with us? We've got a few moments left together, Laurel. What does spirituality mean to you?
Oh gosh, that is such a beautiful question. I'm a very faith-based person. I'm a Christian, so my whole life I kind of weave through business and personal life. My faith doesn't falter or alter depending on who the client is. I don't have to put that on the forefront, but if it's going to, you know, maybe my integrity would be rubbed the wrong way, or they're asking me to do something that wouldn't be in line with my faith or my spiritual values, I have to say no to it. So my faith leads everything that I do, actually. So that's a big part of who I am and making a difference in the lives of others. By no means am I perfect. I mess up every single day, but it's important for me to, really build my business and also my personal life with relationships in mind.
Yeah,
That's
beautiful.
key. They don't have to think and feel and act the same way I do or have the same beliefs. we're all in this together. And I think it's really important to really, especially during this climate, is loving people where they are, meeting them where they need to be met. And that's why I believe that's why we're here on earth, to make a difference in others.
Absolutely. And I'm mindful, my mind is going slightly to politics, and I've made a promise to myself that I won't. But I'll just share this, which is, I do watch the news. I try not to, I'll be honest, because I find it so triggering. But my beautiful
Um,
life partner does. And then I kind of hear things. But yeah, you guys are in a very interesting time at the moment, and it's definitely felt worldwide. And for me, where my beliefs come in is really sitting more so in that place of love and light for every being, because people are angry and there's a lot of shadow work being done consciously or unconsciously. And I get angry. I touch on those parts as well, where there's things that are so triggering based on my own personal upbringing and the communities that I've been involved in, and the misrepresentation and misunderstandings is what it comes back to spiritually. It's a misunderstanding on a global scale, and constantly coming back to that sweet spot, different sweet spot to before, but of recognizing what's happening, feeling the anger and the frustration in your body, in your being, and then choosing to come back to, okay, God, creator, universe, help me see the light in this. What's the learning in this? What's the lesson in this? How can I be an instrument of love? Or whatever questions and ways of being it is that brings you back into your center, because we need humans within their center right now and not off it.
Well, and you're exactly right. And hurting people often hurt other people unknowingly. And so, the more stress, the more frustration that we all have. I mean, we're living in uncertainty in economic, political climates. You know, you don't know what someone else's story is. And offering that compassion and that grace to say, you know what, it's probably not about me. It's something that maybe is off-putting with them that day. They had a fight with their spouse, or their boss yelled at them, or whatever the heck it is, and just offering that, like you said, love, light, and opportunity for grace. And then also through struggles, oftentimes there are opportunities to come out bigger, brighter, bolder on the other side. Nobody likes to feel that yuckiness, or some of the things that are happening in this world that are just so painful. And everybody struggles. It's looking and stopping and pausing and saying, okay, what lessons can I learn? And I often do that, before reacting. Although I'm not perfect, like I said, I mess up every day. But oftentimes taking that focus off of, okay, that person lashed out at me. Is it me? Is it something I did? And, all the focus off of me. It's really not about me. It's about something that's going on with them, and offering them the opportunity of, what can I help you with? I saw you were struggling a little bit. It's not really in your nature. How can I help you? And that helps me with my son too. Off the business side, it's when I see him struggling, he has some learning difficulties and some special needs. And so oftentimes I just say, what can I help you with? What is it that I can do for you? Tell me how you're feeling. And, coming at it from that standpoint of, you look like you're really struggling. I know you're feeling something. What is it that you need right now in this place? And oftentimes he's able to tell me, I'm sad, or I'm tired, or I wanted to have more video game time.
Of course, of course. Yeah,
Teenagers.
I can relate so much. I'm very private with my son, but we also have some yeah, some special things we have to be able to support him with. And I think,
Right.
I really believe we choose our parents, and our children choose us. And
Yes.
there's a level of, compassion and patience, and that
Mhm.
that really that unconditional love is so apparent in that dynamic. I don't know if you well, I'm sure that you do. I think most parents feel that way about their children, but that's a beautiful area to be able to practice that. Let's finish up. We've got two quick questions to go. So, Laurel, what self is your favorite and why? And we're referring here to the six selves, which is the banner behind me for those on YouTube.
Yeah, I would say legacy for me is probably one of the top. Um, so much of what I do is, thinking about with intention, how do I want to live my life? How do I want my business, to grow and scale? And what do I want my life and legacy to look like? What do I want to leave others with? If it's, a book I've been a part of, or a project, or something that's going to better someone's life or touch them in some small way, or my son or my family, what is it that I want to do after I'm gone? How do I want to be remembered? How do I want to touch others when they think of my name? Is it positive or negative? And, some of those things that I can leave behind. So I would definitely say legacy for sure.
Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. And Laurel, what advice do you have for others who are creating a business that serves both the world and their heart?
I would say really taking a look. I know we've talked about it, through this segment, is really aligning, really getting clear on your why and aligning your purpose with your passion. And sometimes that takes time, and sometimes it is instantaneous. You know what you want to do. You've known since you were 6 years old, and you're on fire to do it. So really aligning both of those, I think, are so important, for your heart center, and aligning the head and the heart, because it takes both for business, to thrive and to work. So aligning both of those for.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Laurel. Is there anything else that you feel is on your heart that you wish to share with us today?
No, I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. I think I shared earlier before we started chatting that I've watched all your episodes, and you're just such a true vision of love and light. And I was drawn to you and wanted to really, you know, meet you in person, and well, virtual in person, and just be able to learn from you as well. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, it's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The information provided on this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical, health, or financial advice. Always consult with a qualified health professional or financial advisor before making any decisions related to your personal health or finances.